First, I guess we'll talk about dating, dude, and something that's affecting quite a lot of guys directly. And it's men's experience with dating specifically, and why it's actually way worse than most people realize, to be honest. So we know that modern women completely destroyed dating for essentially the average man, and the economy basically just gave them the tools to be even more insufferable about it. And if you don't even know about that part, it's because they've gotten educated, which is not bad at all. But we've also had major issues when it comes to, what could you say? Equality in pay, DEI and getting hired, the type of jobs that got shipped overseas, manufacturing stuff that men used to predominantly do, basically don't exist anymore. So yeah, the society that we have today has gotten retooled and essentially, for the benefit of women, if we're being honest. So we ended up with the lopsiding dating market. It is harder now than it's ever been. And unless you're in the top % of money and like looks as well or status, you're pretty much invisible to women. And I mean like literally you're invisible. They don't even acknowledge that you exist. These are called the invisibles. Okay. And most women, they're all chasing the same tiny pool of available men. I guess you call them the high value men. You call them that, right? And they're at 30 years old, or this is about the time, it's called the wall, where they're all wondering where all the good men went after they spent their entire 20s getting railed by guys who'd never commit to them in the first place. So when you're actually looking at the data, here's what you're seeing. You got men in their 20s and in their 30s, and they got solid jobs, right? These guys are not losers. They got college education, degrees, or skilled trades. They're making well over $50,000. Let's just say a band of like 50 to 80K. That's not even bad. That used to be respectable. But they're getting rejected constantly because women have this mental benchmark of 6 fucking figures minimum from social media. And it's not even about security anymore. It's about the fucking Instagram lifestyle that they think they deserve because they watch too many luxury influencers. And then they convince themselves that they're 10s when they're actually 6s at best. Okay. There was this therapist dude, I was reading about him. He's like Vincent something. He was practicing for 7 years. He talks about how his male clients are falling into these depressive spirals because they've internalized the message that love equals money. And this is where we're headed in the West, guys. They're sitting there thinking, all these men, that I don't have money. Where am I ever going to find a girlfriend? And it crushes them, dude, to the point where they stop approaching women entirely because rejection from the delusional harpies is just too painful. Are you fucking kidding me? Like this is where we've gotten, right? These guys aren't even bad guys. They're not lazy shitheads, right? Sitting on couches. These are men working, dude. They're just trying to build careers, trying to build a life. Doing everything right, essentially. But wages have been stagnant for decades now. I think like a better part of 20 years. And cost of living has exploded since then. Hell, in the last 5 years, it's exploded. So making 60 to 70,000 doesn't go far like it used to. Yes, if this was 1995, 60 to 70K would have been an amazing amount of money. Great. And women's expectations, they haven't adjusted to this reality. They've gone up because social media shows them that the top 5% of men, and constantly, by the way, that their fucking monkey brains can't differentiate between what's normal and what's absolutely fantasy. So they swipe left, essentially, on dating apps. Can you imagine? On 95% of men, while complaining there's no good men left. Because who are they following? Literally the top 5%, all jacked, all chattish, all like Sir Pennyworth, the most baller of the cream of the crop men. And they only see those guys that interact with those guys, and they think this is normal. And this is when you hear shit like there's no good men left. They constantly say that. We are in hypergamy on steroids. That's what we're dealing with today. That's what most men are dealing with today. Because women are wired to seek men of higher status. That's evolutionary psychology. We can't deny that. But in the past, there were social structures that we had that balanced this kind of need out. So we had family involvement, we had community pressure, we had cultural norms, right? And our norms used to say that you can't just chase the highest bidder forever. And at some point, you have to pick somebody and build a life with them. And feminism destroyed all of that. They told women that they could have it all, that there are no consequences, that you could spend your 20s riding the cock carousel, right? Focus on your career. Don't worry about marriage or kids. You got plenty of time, sis. Strong boss, babe, right? Then they hit the 30 years wall. It just smacks them right in the face, dude. It's like 29, 30. Boom, your world's over. And suddenly they want to settle down. But guess what? The high value men that they're chasing now, they all have options. Those guys aren't committing to some fucking 30-year-old career bitch with a body count in double digits. And a baggage that's a decade of what? Failed relationships where she was just getting used. They're dating the 25-year-olds who are still hot and haven't been completely ruined by hookup culture. That's what it is. And these women are sitting there shocked, like absolutely shocked. The math doesn't work in their favor anymore. And ladies, we tried to warn you, but they never listen, do they? There's another dude, French OG or something like that. It runs like a dating AI tool. And he was sharing stories from a bunch of the dudes that are using the app and stuff. And you can see the data on the back end. Bro, you have guys that are like 6'3" in New York, like tech executives making well over $250,000 a year, athletic builds, like the dude is a chat, should be crushing it. He's running, like this guy was telling his story, he's running into women in their 30s holding out for millionaires. Not six figures, bro. Millionaires. Women who wasted their 20s on their careers in bad boys, now they're aging out, but they still have the absurd standards. That's insane. They are completely priced out of the most very successful men that they're chasing. They don't get it, how much they're screwing themselves with their own standard. This whole dynamic is fucking backwards. Listen, and I get it too. Look, women are more financially independent than ever. And feminists told us that this would make them less demanding about men's income, but instead they use their own income as a baseline and then demand that men make even more on top. So women making 80K are saying that they need a man making 150K minimum because she won't date down. That's hypergamy. But dating down is exactly what most women need to do if they ever want to have a chance at a relationship, because their sexual market value is way lower than they think it is. A 30-year-old woman with a career is not some prize catch, dude. She's used goods and it's the truth, with an attitude problem on top, who's going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. And men all over are figuring this shit out because the red pill is so out in the open now. Yes, used goods. That's going to absolutely piss every single woman off who hears that. But the entire point of dating for a man is catching something that is hard to catch. If half the block has caught you, got you to open your legs, you don't really have that much inherent value or worth because you don't value yourself. There's something in between your legs that people pay money for. Do you understand? And you're a fool to give that shit up for free. It's not the same. It's not a flex to go out in a bar and open your legs. It's not. It really isn't. Sorry. It took zero skill, zero effort, and the dude on the corner that's a bum with one eye missing and can hardly fucking speak will still smash. Just saying. Zero skill. So, anyways, I'm reading accounts from like men in their 30s, men in their 20s, dudes that have disposable income. And the fucking horror stories are lying. Dude, 90% of women he dated, this one guy that's like 35, he's fit, he's got everything going for him, viewed him as basically a walking wallet. Either that or entertainment. And they contributed nothing to this dude's growth, expected him to serve them, dumped him the second anything better comes along on Tinder. And guys are reporting the same shit. This is literally what modern women are to average dudes or even above average. To their eyes, we have to preface this with any guy not on that Instagram luxury lifestyle is literally average to them. It's almost like it's a parasite looking for a host. And they keep looking until they find that guy. But that guy has other parasites around him. He's just flicking them off his shoulder. He uses them, has his fun, flicks them off. That's really it. Because these women, it is a parasitic relationship in the sense of what can you possibly provide this guy that has everything? Are you the hottest woman on planet Earth? Do you treat him better than every other woman he's ever come across times 10? Do you offer him something that no other woman can possibly offer him? Because what women bring to the table is literally what's in between their legs. 99% of times, a woman defines herself by her front or her back door or the mouth and its magic tricks that she could do with it. When you ask a woman, what do you bring to the table? Literally, that's what they, there's like a joke with, who Who was like one of the godfathers of the red pill? Patrice O'Neill. Patrice O'Neill had a joke about that. Ladies, he had a joke, and I can't remember how it went exactly, about, what do you bring to the table if you couldn't have sex with your man? And then most of them were answering something like the back door or something like that. That's it. So anyways, we'll have to talk about the economic pressure too, because that amplifies everything. And I wouldn't say feminism is the root cause of this, of course, but it surely had a huge impact by turning every household into a dual income, or by causing so much pressure on wages now that we doubled the workforce. That's true, right? So feminism essentially told women that they don't need men. They're strong and independent. They can do everything men can do, right? But these women somehow, through all this, still expect men to pay for dates, to make more money, to be taller, to be stronger, to be higher status. They want all the benefits of a traditional gender role when it suits them only, and then all the benefits of equality when that also suits them too. So you have to pick and choose. The ham beasts, you can't have both. Sorry. Okay? And dating is expensive today, especially in this economy, dude. The apps, they fucking make men, they're so gated, you have to pay for everything. The meals, the activities, and men are expected to pay for all of this shit while women just show up. Literally, just show up. They contribute nothing, or they'll ghost you after you've invested some time and some money, and then they'll move on to the next dude, literally hopping on dick for fucking free meals. And you can read about a whole bunch of men. Dude, there's this one guy, I think it was a Reddit post, he deferred medical care to afford dates and then still got rejected. That's insane. That's insane. You got guys, and then they're lying all over social media about what they do, how much money. I mean, honestly, how down bad could you be that you have to forget lying, that you have to defer medical treatment? Bro, get your fucking shot for your diabetes, okay? Take your insulin, G. Trust me, the date is not worth it. Jesus Christ. And the risk have never been worth. Think of divorce. You're foregoing all your goddamn insulin so you can be number 6 meal date foodie call under her phone, who she can laugh at on a group chat, and you're over there having heart palpitations when you get home and you're sweating bullets and shit, and you're having a sugar spike and an attack. Come on, dude. Think about it. Even if you're successful, you got to think about it like this. Divorce rape is real. Man, a ton of men, dude, are terrified because we've all seen our friends. I grew up seeing that shit in college. I was bartending and I saw all the dudes that were literally broken and would show up Saturday morning at open to drink themselves half to death. And all the stories that they told me. I saw friends get destroyed, losing the house, paying alimony, child support for kids. Some of them aren't even theirs. We've heard all the stories where the dudes got stuck paying child support for kids that weren't his. Can you imagine that? This is the system that we have. This is the male privilege and the patriarchy that they tell you about. Insane. In Australia, they got something called de facto laws. Do you guys know about these? Where living with someone for just a few months can entitle them to half your assets. Australia bros, talk to them about that. They don't know. Australia is a woke hellhole. So even when a man finds someone, there's always going to be a fear in his heart, some form of distrust, preventing, commitment. Because the downside risk is catastrophic. We have a feminized society. One bad relationship can ruin you financially, ruin your life. And they are initiated 80% by women. That's what the divorce rate is, 80%. Because they're what? Not happy. What does that even mean? Or we grew apart. Or whatever other bullshit excuse. Essentially, it means I found somebody else with more money, or I got bored and I wanted to test the waters and be a hoe. Isn't that crazy? This shit is not sustainable, boys. So feminism, we got a generation now of women who are completely delusional about their value. They think they deserve top tier men while bragging, or I should say, not only bragging that they deserve it, but they also don't bring anything to the table like they claim they do, except debt and an attitude and a blown out vagina from fucking years of hookups, probably. And they're shocked. I mean, absolutely. When men aren't, lining up to wife you up? You, the town bicycle, passed around the block? Seriously? I was reading about a sociologist who's talking about how financial freedom creates detachment in relationships. And when women don't need men financially, they become dismissive. I mean, we all have firsthand experience with that kind of shit. They're more likely to leave first at the onset of trouble also. So he was focusing on whether the man, or I should say the woman, I think he was saying, is uber focused on whether the man is bringing any value rather than building it together. So they're very greedy in that sense, you know? And to us in the red pill, it's like, no shit, bro. You don't need to study this shit and go to school. We understand by just dating them how hypergamous women are. They're always looking to trade up. And when you remove the financial dependency that kept them loyal, all you have left is women with their base nature, essentially, which is to choose the highest status male that they can. And they get in trouble with this all the time. They're willing to literally be part of a harem. That should tell you everything you need to know about how good a woman's ability is to choose a man. She would rather be a single mother who is like a side piece being taken care of on the side secretly than be with a man who makes a decent income and would be loyal to her and treat her like a queen the best he possibly could. Imagine that. A woman would rather choose to be a mistress and have some rich dude's baby and be a single mother than for you to love her. So just understand what that actually means, okay? That is the female nature, you guys. And feminists, they'll deny this shit all they want, but the data's not lying, dude. You read all these fucking accounts. Men are just giving up today or opting out entirely, right? Going your own way or checking out of the system, right? A ton of dudes are deciding it's better to be alone than deal with modern women's bullshit. Or they'll go overseas, right? You have a ton of men that are in their 30s and 40s who are done already, done. Would rather focus on careers and hobbies and like go on walks with their dogs and shit and buy a boat and go fishing than subject themselves to what, an emotional fucking and financial toll, a torture of dating some entitled bitch who thinks, you know, she's God's gift to earth. Like, it's insane. And they're actually what, overweight sixes with attitudes, and sixes is being fucking nice, by the way. So truth hurts, bro. But go travel a bit. Yeah, you'll see what it's like overseas where women are actually still skinny and they can't really compete on that sense. Yeah. And then this stuff makes you think about the human cost, really. What happens when a bunch of men really do check out? What if that is the real right move? Seriously. Why, if you're asking, why would you participate in a system that's rigged against you? Why would you pursue a woman who views you as a walking ATM? Why would you risk divorce, rape, and decades of alimony and a slim chance of finding a, quote, unicorn, right? The unicorn, mine's different, who's not a complete nightmare. Think about that shit. You wouldn't. If you're really one of these guys and you're thinking like, dude, what am I busting my ass doing 12-hour shifts? I'm coming home dirty as fuck. What's the point? And men are figuring this out, like in mass. The advice from the men who've adapted to this kind of dating market is very simple, you guys. Get rich, get fit, fuck who you want, don't commit. That's really it. Or if you can't attain that stuff for whatever reason, just opt out entirely. Focus on yourself. Build a life that you're proud of without a woman. Or the third option is usually passport and fish in better waters. That's literally the game right now in the modern era. Don't base your self-worth on some approval from creatures who've been ruined by feminism and social media. They're so vapid and NPC-like, literally, superficial. So, yeah. And if feminist tards want to screech and shit that men aren't fucking stepping up and being where the real men at, right? We're in a masculinity crisis, correct? You can tell them to go fuck themselves. Who brought on the masculinity crisis? Men are just literally adapting to the incentives that women created. You wanted independence, you got it. Now enjoy dying alone with your cats while your eggs dry up. And then you wonder why Chad from your 20s never came back. No shit. He's balls deep in other women, half your age. This is what feminism built. You got a generation of women too delusional to see reality until it's too late, and a generation of men too smart to play a rigged game. This is why the fertility rates are collapsing. Marriage rates are at historical lows. Everyone is fucking miserable and isolated and getting worse and worse and worse. Your fucking cats and your box wine doesn't make you happy. You go to bed at night and you wish you had a warm body next to you. And when you pass away, old as fuck, your cat will eat your face, and we're going to hear about it on the news, and it's going to be like, oh my God, old, lonely, single woman found with half her face missing. We didn't know she died for like 20 fucking 8 days because she's got nobody that cares about her shit. Wow. Seriously. Yeah. And then they'll tell you, be vulnerable, bro. Communicate with respect, right? Talk to me. Talk to me. They'll say,
you gotta talk to me. Please share your feelings.
only for them to literally weaponize your feelings against you. You shed a single tear with these women. Guess what happens? Guess what happens? Goodbye. She dries up. You're not a real man anymore. Oh, I got the ick that he cried. Then later, dude, it's game over for you. So maybe, ladies, maybe you could try not being insufferable harpies with unrealistic standards. Maybe then we could just have a functional fucking society again. Just maybe. Yeah, I'm not holding my fucking breath though. So that's from the male side. And then we'll get on the women's side because I was reading a bunch of what the women were complaining with and shit.